That should be arresting, but I feel like teaching you how to approach soloing. A lot of guitar players, I literally feel, are play by numbers. What I mean by that is you can listen to their solo and it just sounds too mechanical, like they're just following a note pattern, which that's what scales are, but it's more than that. It's more than just going. Like, you need to have like vibratos. Hello, Void. Or Otto. You're a man named Otto now. I don't know what's wrong with me. We'll deal with that another day. So, the point is, I hear a lot of these newer bands these days because it seems to be a trend in newer guitar players. They're just not playing with so much soul and feel, and they're making the guitar sound lifeless. Even like, I don't know, like an example, one of the bands I like, Echoes of Eternity. They don't have a lot of records, but I don't hear a lot of their solos having much bends and personality. I hear more just like following a note sequence, playing almost static. Not every solo, but a good amount of them I've heard. Like I think they had a solo that was going. Something just following some sequence with barely any vibrato. Like you got to give a solo personality. Yeah, anybody can go, but can you go? Give your solo some personality, like tell a story with it, share the emotion, like, not just play 90 miles an hour or play a boring melody that's just like sorry, I naturally put vibratos and bends, but like imagine that kind of stuff with no bends and you have a totally dry guitar sound, so it sounds even more boring. And no, give life to your solos. Like a riff like this. Yeah, you could easily just go. Or you can go. Give it some personality. I mean, you don't have to copy the same exact licks I'm playing, but like give your guitar solos a personality. Give it some feeling and some vibe, not just I mean, it's cool to know your skills, obviously. I want you to know your skills and your theory. But once you do, like, put you into it. I talk a lot about playing fast and how you can improve your speed, because that's fun to do, and it's a cool tool to have in your toolbox. But you want to do more than just be a fast player. You want to be more than just a guy just playing through these modes, like, I don't know, just back in the day, guitar solos had personality. They had feel. They were tragic, they were heartbreaking, they were beautiful, they had emotion, and they had all these things. Like, listen to Sabbath or Satriani or, Alex Lifeson from freaking Rush. He played with so much emotion. Michael Schenker, Uli John Roth, even, I don't know, and they're not even a band I'm into, but like AC/DC, like Angus Young plays with feel. And, he isn't just playing pointlessly. The notes he has a purpose, and they have a reason to be played, And so, like, what I'm trying to impart upon any of you that are actually watching this, even if it's in the replay, is like, give your solos some kind of heart, some kind of soul, make them alive, Anybody can just go. Anybody can go. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm trying to sit comfy, but I can't really play guitar and sit lounging like that. Yeah, I mean, you can play Blistering. Don't get me wrong, you can play Blistering Speeds. Do it like intense, not just blowing your wad, so to speak. So the thing is, give solos a personality. Like the guys in the 70s and the 80s, they especially like the early 70s or early 80s, late 70s, I think they had it. I mean, the Shred kind of got crazy in the 80s, and everybody wanted to play like Yngwie. And then Michelangelo freaking took it even a step further, and he's just insane. But like, don't let your solos just sound like, oh, I'm just playing through a bunch of exercises. Don't get me wrong, that might be fun, and that's fun to do on your own, Sorry, I'm a little sloppy today. I'm not warmed up. That's good for like warming up and getting your fingers and the blood pumping and stuff. But when you play a song, make a solo that fits the song. Like I said, your solo, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I can't really say much more about it. Just have some personality. For all you guys out there, play a solo that makes like any girl you're cool with, especially one that you're really close to, or any female out there that is your dream girl, or just any female that you're tight with. Play a solo that makes them cry. That's how you know you've accomplished something. Play a solo to like, you want to serenade this girl or whatever, so you play this solo or whatnot. She hears it and she starts weeping because you played the most fucking beautiful thing ever. Do that. Don't just be like, hey, look at me. Look at how fast I can play, that's cool to have. But like, you're literally playing every note in one sitting. You're playing everything you have in one sitting. So you're not leaving people wanting more. Leave people wanting more. Like, play that powerful, beautiful, passionate solo. Put some freaking heart into it. Like, play a real solo. Not like just paint by numbers. My God, it's like you're reading out of a damn book. I'm not saying don't know your theory. Know your theory so you don't play stuff that sounds stupid. You don't want to play weird shit like that unless that's what you're going for, but you want to tell a story with your guitar solo, One of the most beautiful, even though he really was more just kind of a straight modes kind of guy, mostly just natural minor, but Voice of a Soul from Death was a beautiful solo. Chuck put a lot of emotion into it. He really poured his heart out in that, and you can hear it. Every note he played was deliberate. That's the thing. Everything you do has to have intention. Every note you play must be deliberate. Every note counts, and every note you're not playing counts. Anybody, we can, any guitar player after he learns how to play fast, yeah, we can always go. And that's fun for a little bit, but like, tell a story with your solo. Know when to put that in there and when not to put that in there. And also, when you're playing the slow runs, don't just play static with no bends. Like, you don't, like, like it's, sorry, allergies. Like, don't just go. Like, just, even that adds to what you're doing. I've heard a lot of shredder guys in these modern bands. I've heard them play solos, and they're good at like going blistering fast, but when they play something slow, it's so boring and like paint by numbers. It's like, okay, you're playing like just this slow run, no vibrato, no bends. You're literally just following a scale book. Once again, I'm not encouraging to play out of scale, but don't just sound like you're just, oh, here's my solo. It's just an exercise. Like, that's the building block. But, if you're going to do that, add some flair, you know what I'm saying? Like, as they said in Office Space, play guitar with, he was telling her that she doesn't work with enough pieces of flair. Well, play guitar with some pieces of flair, so to speak. There were arpeggios in that, but did you notice I was slowing it down, throwing in the bends, throwing in the atmosphere, like, you gotta, like, play something meaningful. Now, if your song's crazy fast, every now and then it does call for something nuts, but make sure it fits the tempo. One thing if you're intentionally writing something that's let's go off the wall, let's play 90 miles an hour, let's just go blistering crazy over the whole thing. I get that. Even that gets boring after a while, but I mean, if that's your intent in a song, then own it and then freaking kill at it. But no, there's a time and a place for that. Like, don't make every solo like that. That's just, after 2 or 3 solos like that, I want to fall asleep, I used to be guilty of that when I was a teenager, when I finally learned how to play fast. Or thought I was playing fast. I just learned to play 90 miles an hour all the time, but that's unappealing. It doesn't really work. It doesn't communicate what you want to communicate. Message-wise, it doesn't get the message across. You got to know when to play fast, when to play slow, when to throw in the vibratos. Soloing is really like singing. You're creating a melody and then you take off from there, It's not just, look at how much I can wink today. I mean, it's fun, I'm not gonna lie, I wink a lot on my own to keep my fingers warmed up. I like to keep the blood flowing. And I like keeping my technique sharp, And the irony is, I actually personally want to get faster, but it doesn't mean I want to write everything like that. I just want it for my toolbox. I want to have that in my arsenal of things I can do, because I am trying to build my technique. But even still, when you write an actual guitar solo, you need to tell a story. You need to really put some heart into it. I know I sound old school and like I'm a dad rocker and like a lot of people don't care about that anymore, but I'm just being honest. You'll get better results playing something more meaningful, and the people will really feel touched by what you're doing. And then you throw those blistering crazy licks in the right spot. Oh man, you've won them over. You know, because they proved back in the 80s that you can shred like crazy, and that's cool, but like, you know, let's do something different. You know, actually, ironically, what I'm saying is we're bringing us back to the 70s. Because you got so many guitar players coming out these days. They're a dime a dozen. They're all doing the same thing, and that just bores me. Like it's hard to impress me with guitar players and solos. I like different guitar players, mostly, you know, for their riffs, actually, like, you know, rhythms and stuff. But really, it's hard to impress me with guitar players. Really, the guitar players that I think are the greatest are Tony Iommi, and he's not even crazy technical. He plays blues rock riffs and mostly bluesy and jazz solos. And then Satriani, because he's very melodic, bluesy, but jazz fusion, and he's mostly hard rock and blues. Chris Oliva, may he rest in peace, from Savatage, was very fast and melodic, but also very bluesy and did a lot of bends, and he wrote cool riffs as well. Chuck Schuldiner, because he's very unique. He did play really fast, but even he still knew when to play something blistering, and he knew when to slow it down. Now, he had a very erratic picking style. I will admit, he played kind of off the wall. That was just his sound, but he still knew how to make that work, and it fit the theme of his music. And of course, gosh, who else? I'm probably forgetting somebody. We've covered Iommi, Satriani, Chris Oliva, Chuck Schuldiner. Loomis is great, but ironically, I like Loomis more for his rhythm than his leads. I think he's an impressive lead player. He really is, but I hardly hear him play anything soulful. It's usually just something blistering, and he's good at it. But what I like about Loomis is he writes really cool, intricate, heavy riffs, and he does all these really cool chords, and he does these unique, he does these unique shapes with his chords. It's almost like jazzy, fusion-ish, melodic death metal groove all in one. Like, he's got a very unique style behind his riffs. And I like him more as a rhythm player than a lead player, which might sound weird to a lot of you Jeff Loomis fans. But that's where I am drawn to Loomis. His riffs are just freaking smashing. Not so much into his leads, even though technically he's much better than I am. He's a proficient player. I just don't feel like a lot of his solos tell stories. It depends on the song, though. So that's just my take on how a guitar solo should be played or approached. That's how I personally feel. That's how I think it should be done. Of course, you can do whatever, but I think this should help, because bring back the old school. And oh yeah, and one other guitar player, I mentioned him earlier, but I meant to put him on the list of players that I think are great. Freaking Alex Lifeson. He's just, he's incredible, and especially the solo, the Working Man, and the solo in 2112. There's quite a few of them. I like the really slow part where he does that solo in A minor. It's just really, really good. I like that he's got all these bends, like back then guitar players had personality. You can actually tell who you were listening to by the way they play. Nowadays, it's like they all sound the same. It's a dime a dozen. So that's just me. So anyways,